Now we are going to discuss about 8051 IO ports functions. One major feature of a microcontroller is the versatility built into the input-output, that is IO circuits that connect the 8051 to the outside world. We know that microprocessor designs must add additional chips to interface with the external circuitry, but this ability is built into the microcontroller. To be commercially viable, the 8051 had to incorporate as many functions as were technically and economically feasible. The main constraint that limits numerous functions is the number of pins available to the 8051 circuit designers. The 8051 DIP, that is dual inline package, has 40 pins, and the success of the design in the marketplace was determined by the flexibility built into the use of these pins. For this reason, 24 of the pins may each can be used for one of two entirely different functions, yielding a total pin configuration of 64. Actually, we have 40. The function of a pin, the function a pin performs at any given instant depends first on what is physically connected to it, and then on what software commands are used to program the pin. Both of these factors are under the complete control of the 8051 programmer and circuit designer. Given this pin flexibility, the 8051 may be applied simply as a single component with IO only, or it may be expanded to include additional memory, parallel ports, and serial data communication by using the alternate pin assignments. The key to programming an alternate pin function is the port pin circuitry, which is discussed next. The figure shows the port pin circuits of 8051 microcontroller. Here the first figure shows the port 0 pin configuration, and the second figure is port 1 pin configuration, and the third figure is port 2 pin configuration, and the fourth figure is port 3 pin configuration. As shown in the figure, each port has a D-type output latch for each pin. The special function register for each port is made up of these 8 latches, which can be addressed at the SFR address for that port. For instance, the 8 latches for port 0 are addressed at location 80H. Port 0 pin 3 is bit 2 for the P0 SFR, P0 SFR. The port latches should not be confused with the port pins here. This is very important. The data on the latches does not have to be same as that of the pins. The two data paths are shown in the figure by the circuits that read the latch or pin data using two entirely separate buffers. The upper buffer is enabled when latch data is read, and the lower buffer when the pin state is read. The status of each latch may be read from a latch buffer, while an input buffer is connected directly to each pin so that the pin status may be read independently of the latch state. The same explanation is given here. Let us study each port in detail. Now let us start with the first port, that is port 0. Port 0 pins may serve as inputs, output, outputs or when used together as a bidirectional low order address and data bus for external memory. For example, when a pin is to be used as an input, 1 must be written to the corresponding port 0 latch by the program, thus turning both of the output transistors off, which in turn causes the pin to float in a high impedance state, and the pin is essentially connected to the input buffer as shown in the figure. Now the second case, when used as an output, the pin latches that are programmed to a 0 will turn on the lower FET, grounding the pin. All latches that are programmed to a 1 still float. Thus, external pull-up resistors will be needed to supply a logic high when using port 0 as an output. This is one important condition in port 0 operation. Now the third case, when the port 0 is used as an address bus to external memory, internal control signals switch the address lines to the gates of the field effect transistor, that is FET. A logic 1 on an address bit will turn the upper FET on and the lower FET off to provide a logic high at the pin. When the address bit is 0, the lower FET is on and the upper FET goes off to provide a logic low at the pin. After the address has been formed and latched into external circuits by the address latch enable, that is ALE pulse, the bus is turned around to become a data bus. Port 0 now reads data from the external memory and must be configured as an input. So a logic 1 is automatically written by internal control logic to all port 0 latches. The next port is port 1. Port 1 pins have no dual functionalities. Therefore, the output latch is connected directly to the gate of the lower FET, which has an FET circuit labeled internal FET pull-up as an active pull-up load. Now, the first condition, if it is used as an input, so for that a 1 is written to the latch, turning the lower FET off. The pin and the input to the pin buffer are pulled high by the FET load. An external circuit can overcome the high impedance pull-up and drive the pin low to input 0 or leave the input high for a 1. Now the second condition, if used as an output, for this the latches containing a 1 can drive the input of an external circuit high through the pull-up. If 0 is written to the latch, the lower FET is on, it goes on, the pull-up is off, and the pin can drive the input of the external circuit low. To aid in spreading up switching times, when the pin is used as an output, the internal FET pull-up has another FET in parallel with it. The second FET is turned on for 2 oscillator time period during a low to high transition on the pin as shown in the figure. This arrangement provides a low impedance path to the positive voltage supply to help reduce rise time in charging any parasitic capacitance in the external circuit. The next port is port 2. Port 2 may be used as an input-output port similar in operation to port 1. The alternate use of port 2 is to supply a higher order address byte in conjunction with the port 0 lower order byte to address external memory. Port 2 pins are momentarily changed by the address control signals when supplying the high byte of a 16-bit address. Port 2 latches remain stable when external memory is addressed, as they do not have to be turned around, that is set to 1, for data input as in the case of port 0. The next port is port 3. Port 3 is an input output port similar to port 1. The input and the output functions can be programmed under the control of the P3 latches or under the control of various other special function registers. The port 3 alternate uses are shown in the table. As shown in the table, P3.0, it can be used as serial data input. P3.1, its alternate use is serial data output. P3.2, its alternate use is external interrupt 0. P3.3, it can be used as external interrupt 1. P3.4 can be used as external timer 0 input. P3.5 external timer 1 input, and P3.6 its alternate use is external memory write pulse. P3.7 can also be used as external memory read pulse. And for this operation, the special function registers used are shown in the column number 3. Yeah, with this we can say, unlike port 0 and port 2, which can have external addressing functions and change all 8 port bits when in alternate use, each pin of port 3 may be individually programmed to be used either as IO, that is input output, or as one of the alternate functions as shown in the table.